Welcome, everybody. It's Ryan, the game show guy, back with you with another tip here. A tip, a tool, a technique, a strategy. Have you ever wondered or needed something that you could just spin? The idea, the random selector, basically. In education, we want to be able to do the classic pull the name out of the hat or the popsicle sticks to be able to call on somebody. And so there's always been this need that I want to be able to randomly select something. Could be for games that I like doing here on my YouTube channel, or you could want to be able to do them regarding normal, like, hey, whose turn it is for something like that. So we love the idea about random picking, and there's a lot of great tools out there. And so this, what I'm going to show you here, is about how I can be able to make my own spinner if I wanted to do a spinner. Now, spinner, what do you mean by spinners? You mean this? Are these the spinners? It is. Do you know the spinners? Absolutely love the spinners. So many great songs. This one, Rubber Band Man. No, not those spinners. Check out Rubber Band Man. Anyway, no, not that kind of spinner. The random selectedness of a spinner, folks. This is kind of what it looks like. The spinner, how you may want to be able to use it in your world. And so basically, I want to be able to have 1 out of 6 choices. Like I mentioned, the popsicle stick, or often I need to be able to have a die used in a game. So this is where I've been really need to be able to use this, is oftentimes I have games that require somebody to be able to roll a die. And sometimes you want to be able to have it physically have a dice in front of you. But other times I want it to be able to up on the screen so the whole class can kind of be able to see. PowerPoint's a little bit interesting, is can I be able to do a built-in dice? And you can, and there's some great YouTube tutorials out there. A little bit complicated, a little bit complex, if you would. So for me, if I just want the classic dice, give me a 1 through 6 spin, and the whole class can be able to see that here's how to be able to do it. And so basically what you need is something that could spin. You need a circle here. And if I put this in the slideshow mode, you should be able to see in here, here's my basic spinner. Ready, set, and it'll spin infinity. Once you click on the arrow, it spins. When you click on the arrow, it stops. That one's a 3. Do it again. And it'll go forever. That's a 6. There's a 2. And the way I designed the spinner, it's fast enough that I can kind of see what's happening, but too fast that I can't plan, and I wanted a 6 every time. You can't. It just ultimately moves too fast. So great way for to be able to use a spinner that's built in with PowerPoint. Now, a lot of people are thinking, why are you even doing this, Ryan? Because there already is some fantastic spinners that are out there. And there are. Here's a couple of them right here. These are 3 that I recommend. You've probably seen these already. The top left one, Wheel of Names, has been around for a long time. And the middle one is called spinthewheel.app, and the top right one is called pickerwheel.com. Here's the pros and cons to be able to use these as opposed to a built-in one within a PowerPoint. Why you would want to be able to use one of these. You don't need to do anything. It's already built for you. It's all done. Simply, you just go in there and you put whatever you want. If I want 1 through 6, 1 through 6. I want to copy and paste all my kids. Go to my bring up the document, my list of my roster of all my kids, copy all their names, put them into there, and hit random and spin the thing, and it's great. Wonderful for that. So fantastic. Another great reason to be able to use this is it eliminates. So if I want to be able to do that student picker or whatever, let's say, and I got 30 kids, and then it starts to remove. Every time it says Sally, then Sally's name is removed, or you have the choice on that one. Great sounds and all that sort of stuff. Negatives, why to be able to use this. One little nitpick negative is that it's just chock full of ads. These things are just hit you over the heads with the ads, all that sort of stuff. That's not that big of a deal. The biggest reason for me is it's not within the game. It's not within my PowerPoint. Sorry, what if you're not doing a game? But in anything, if I'm in my PowerPoint, I'm in my thing, and I just want to be able to have it part of it. I want it in the corner. I want to whatever. I don't want to be able to get out of it and go over to something, particularly if you've noticed in some of the, if you've ever played with any of the games of mine, oftentimes if you get out of the game, if you end the slideshow mode, you're going to end the scoring or the path or the progress that everybody's on. So you need to stay within that. So that's kind of the biggest reason why I ultimately wanted to be able to have that in there. Okay, and so there's different ways in which you can be able to do this. Like I mentioned, I wanted to be able to have a dice spin. So I thought, like, okay, here's a basic way to be able to do it. Using that same premise, it's not as cool as a die, but if you look on the one on the right-hand side that it says make the wheel spin, if I click on that arrow, you can see here it's doing that, spinning those 6 different dice, And then whenever I hit that arrow again, it stops that. Okay. Not as cool as the sort of animated ones that you can see on some of those other tutorials that are out there. Simple and easy to be able to do, and it just sits within there. Very small file as well, too. Now, I could flip that, so check this on the left-hand side. So the one on the right was make the wheel spin, and the one on the left is, what if I make the arrow spin? This one, I'm going to click on the green dot in the middle, and now this thing is going to spin the arrow itself, and then wherever I click stop, it'll stop there as well too. Now, so for some of you guys watching this video, it may be glitchy based on the animation within the PowerPoint being recorded. But if you look at the file itself, you'll be able to get it. Side note, and I'll mention this again at the end, but to be able to access all of this, if you go into the YouTube description below, you'll be able to see I'll have this PowerPoint that you can be able to download and use on your own. So anyway, let me show you how that ultimately can be done here. Whoa, here it is. Let me hop out of there. Jumped ahead of myself. Okay. So how to be able to do that is I need a circle to be able to spin. And so here's the tutorial part of this thing. If I want a wheel to spin, first off, how many spots do I need? And you're interesting enough, you're not going to build this within PowerPoint. You're going to build this in PowerPoint, but it's going to kind of open up a spreadsheet. It's going to open up Microsoft Excel. So watch here. I'm going to go to Insert. And when I go to Chart, it says, what kind of chart do you want? I want to do a pie chart. Here's my good old circle pie chart. Now what it's actually going to do in order to build that, it's going to bring up the chart on the bottom, but sitting right on top of that is a spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet is just taking whatever those numbers, then it'll convert those visually to what you see in PowerPoint. You can modify those to be able to create basically the number of options that you want. You want the thing to equal to about 100. Okay, the closest you can get to 100 will make this thing fit. Now, it doesn't need to be balanced because it'll balance it for you, but you just need to be able to kind of be able to do the math. So let's say if I'm going to be doing 6 different six different options like a die, I'm going to go over here and get rid of those quarter things. Now, here's these numbers, 8.2, 3.2, and all that sort of stuff. I need to be able to think, what is 100 divided by 6 gives me a 16.7. So if I go 16.7 like that, then you can see on the bottom, it modifies and change that. If I'm just going to drag the bottom here, I can either retype it, copy and paste, or, oh, my mouse, come on. Having a hard time without a mouse. I could just do copy and paste, 16.7. And if I do that 6 times, now if I move that over, there is my balanced wheel of 6 of them that equal up to 100. Okay, I want to be able to change that more. Let's say I want to be able to do 13 of them. That one is 0.77. So let me see if I can get this drag. You should be able to, in the bottom of Excel, if you grab that plus, there it is, pull that down. If I do 13 of those, and now I can see here is my evenly balanced 13 of them. So take 100, divide it by whatever you want, and put that number in. You see all those colors up there. Don't worry about that. I'm going to click X and close that on the PowerPoint. And that's our first step, is I've built my wheel in essence. I have all these other things. So if I click on, let's say, sales, hit delete, I don't want that. This little, what's that called? The key down there. I don't want that. Now here's the colors. This is where it kind of gets interesting. I can go in here and change these to whatever I want. If I don't want orange, if I just go to my normal format, I could, if I format let me bring up the format option here. Change my shape fill. I can change that to, if I wanted that to be red, I can change that to color to red. I can click on the next one and be able to change that. What if I wanted it go to more fill colors and make that a darker red kind of a thing. So you can ultimately change and customize that to ultimately whatever you want. And if you've ever played with formatting, it's really kind of cool because it's just not picking colors. So take, for example, here, if I go to this yellow one, I could say, hey, shape fill, those are colors, but I can do, the gradients. But if I go over here to picture, watch this, I can actually put in an image and it will fill it. Here's a picture from my YouTube channel of me pointing at the camera, kind of a thing. And now it has put that picture directly in there. So you can literally fill it with anything, kind of a thing. And ultimately make what you want. Now here's in order to be able to make this thing spinner, it is still a chart, and I can't do that because I need to be able to make this object be a picture, and then the picture will spin. All right, so here's the key on this thing. I'm going to click on the outside of this chart area, so I just have the whole box highlighted. From there, I'm going to right-click that, and then I'm going to see an option down here that says Save as Picture. What that's going to do is whatever this chart is like, it's going to basically screenshot it, snap it, and make it a picture that will be a PNG or a JPEG. And it's going to say, great, here it is. Where do you want to save this thing? I'm going to call this wheel. You're going to have to give it a name, wheel 3. Okay. Now I can still edit and change this. It's still the edited, it's the chart that I can modify. But if I go to a new slide here, I'm going to get rid of everything and now watch this. I'm going to go to Insert Picture, go to Browse and find this. And if I see wheel 3, there it is. And if I click on that, it looks the same from one slide to the next. That's the chart on this slide, but the next one is actual image. It's not editable. It's just a picture. Now comes the magic of animation. We can make this thing spin. All right, so here's the part 2, part 3. Anyway, I want to be able to make this thing spin. So right-click, bring up the animation tab. Animation, instead of coming and going, I'm going to go to emphasize, and I'm going to click on this option where it says, I want this object to spin. Great. Now you should bring up your animation pane. If you click up on your animation pane on the right-hand side, should show you all of the things that are animating. And right now I have a wheel. So it is going to spin. Before I want to do and tell it any of the changes, I need to be able to put it what's called a trigger. What's going to make that happen? I showed you before I did an arrow. I'm just going to grab another one. Just drag a shape. Make a little arrow. And make that the arrow where this is ultimate. This is going to serve 2 points. Where this, it'll say where the thing is landing on the spinner, and then also it's going to be the trigger that will turn it on and off. Okay. Now, so I have 2 objects. I have the wheel and I have the arrow. So if I'm still in my animation pane, I'm going to double click this, bring up the details of this spinning animation. And I can see here, all right, first off, what directions are going to go, smooth start. I don't care about any of that. I want to go to where it says timing here and say, when do I want this thing to happen? This is the magic. I want this to happen on a click, yes. How long do I want this to be? You want it pretty fast. Remember I mentioned before, if it's slow, kids are going to be able to see it and try to guess it. So they have all these numbers, 0.5, 1, 2. Feel free to change that whatever you want. So here's the fast. It says 0.5. I could change that to 0.4. Type in any number that you want, it can do. All right, so I got this thing. It's going to spin in 0.4 seconds. Repeat. Oh, yeah, I want this thing to repeat until the next click. Then here's the magic, the trigger. If I click on trigger, it says, all right, I want to do this. Click on start at the beginning of picture 4 and arrow right. You can change the names if you open up what's called the selection pane, but I think I can tell the difference. Picture 4 is the wheel and arrow right is that arrow. So that is the trigger. And that, in essence, is it, kind of, because it doesn't really stop it if I want to do it multiple times. There's 2 parts, and this one doesn't make a lot of sense, but just follow me on this one. I'm going to have to do this again. If I click on the wheel, I need to add another animation. There's 2 parts to this animation. One, make the thing spin, and in order to make it stop, it doesn't make any sense, but go to this. I want to be able to add an animation. Don't edit, just add a new one and make it appear. So you can see on the right-hand side, I have this one is going to spin. The new one just makes it appear, but drag this one right underneath it so they're both under the same trigger. So that trigger will do both things. If you do that, watch what happens here. Here comes my put it in slideshow, and if I spin, it'll spin continuously. Then the second animation is called appear, and that just makes it stop wherever you clicked. And that, in essence, is it. There's your spinner. All done. If you're finished with this thing and the YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and like. Smash that like. Anyway, yeah, that does help. But yeah, anyway, so that's in essence of how you can kind of do that thing. You can get super creative. Like here, this is probably my most favorite famous one is the wheel that spins is Wheel of Fortune. I have a Wheel of Fortune game on my YouTube channel, and Teachers Pay Teachers you can check. And in essence, it's the same thing. I didn't build this. I just went to the internet and found that circle. And there's tons of them that are out there. And I've done and built the same thing. When I click on the green arrow, it's going to spin. All I've added is I found the sound effect of the Wheel of Fortune. So now when I do that, now comes that sound. The sound is ultimately going to loop So you can go forever as you want, but it'll just loop again, again, again. And I stop at 300. Here's one of the negative things that you can't fix in PowerPoint. It doesn't do the slow stop. It just stops it hard and starts it again. It's kind of neat on some of these games to have to do a slow end to create some drama like you do in these games, or even if you go to the casinos and you do the wheel, win money, hopefully to get 100, and you got nothing. You know what I mean? Anyway, so you can find existing ones, or you can get creative. So take, for example, this here. Well, I want to build my own brand new kind of wacky spinner. And what I'm going to do here is underneath it is my chart. Okay. And I didn't insert, I just found some pictures of the Mario world that are just objects. And I rotate them around. Like, what if I wanted to do a little spinner? And this could be anything. This could be pictures of your students in the class or whatever you want. Whatever. If we get a surprise thing to be able to pick, hey, everybody has things in your classroom and they get a pick for the day. Whatever. You put your objects in there. But I can't right-click this thing and save image, because if I did that, it's only highlighted the chart itself. But well, check this out. Here, let me take Mario, for example. I'm going to make him fit. Here's a fun way to be able to get creative with this thing. Like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything. I have to highlight it all. And I could do a giant drag over everything and grab it. But to be safe, I'm going to do Control A. Control A means select everything. So everything has been highlighted. Now if I right click it and I go to Save Picture As, I'm going to call this thing Wheel Mario and hit save. And now that's been done. The whole thing has been saved and I can be able to redo that. Or this one's going to blow your mind. I learned this one. I'm a PowerPoint guy and I learned this one a while ago. And when I learned this one, this was a game changer. So I've already built, I did this over here in this slide. It's already done. Dang it. Now I did the Mario wheel. Do I have to redo all that animation? Answer is no. Check this out. Ready? I'm going to take the wheel and I don't like it. I like all the animation with it. Can I just replace the picture? You absolutely can. So if I right click this picture and I say change it, I could simply swap out a new picture and everything associated with the picture will stay the same, but just whatever it is changes. So watch this. Change picture from this device. Now go find my wheel, Mario, and boom, there it is. This is the same wheel that I just built with you all. Now when I click play, everything's the same. It's all right there. It's all built within it and all that kind of a stuff. So done. So the nice part, folks, is you've just learned the tutorial. You don't have to. Download in the description my PowerPoint here and just swap it out with whatever you want, whatever circle shape ultimately that you want. That replace thing works everywhere. For example, I don't want to do Mario. I'm going to go do U.S. presidents. So I'm going to copy this image of, you could save it. Here's another even cooler thing. Watch this. I'm going to go to Luigi. I'm going to right click Luigi. This is on the chart itself. Change my picture. Instead of from this device, just my clipboard, because I copied it. It's going to pull it from the clipboard. So watch this. Bang. There's Abe Lincoln right now. And I can put all the different, whatever you want in there. Simple, bing, bang, boom, done, all that kind of a stuff. You can even change this too. Like I thought this was kind of funny. Here is my Mario spinner. Kind of make it interesting. I put the Mario logo in the middle, and there's my arrow that points. But how crazy is this? If I go over here to my Bitmoji, I love old Bitmoji, Mr. O'Donnell here. I'm going to get me pointing. Look at that. There's the Bitmoji with him pointing a little thing, my little finger. And now if I right click this, right click, change picture to my clipboard. Now check that out. How cute is he? That is the Mr. O'Donnell pointing with his Bitmoji little fingery there, kind of a thing. And then when I put that in slideshow mode, it still works. Whenever I click on my face, the thing is going to spin around. And then wherever I point to works, just because I've replaced the picture. The replaced picture is absolutely super fun. The last slide you can see on my PowerPoint is I've used this in a lot of different ways. Let me show you a couple of them about where I've used them and some ways in which you may want to. You can see here's one I've done in my Trivial Pursuit game. The Trivial Pursuit game, when I put this in the slideshow, this is the same one I did on the dice. If I click here, spins around. And what I just did is I did text boxes about where ultimately we're going to play. So we're playing Trivial Pursuit. Hey, go to terms or mystery. So that's a simple one to be able to do. Next one is, let me show you what this thing looks like in where I use that the dice spinny wheel, because I want to have a Monopoly game. Not finished yet. Hopefully coming out this summer is my Monopoly game. And my Monopoly game, I wanted a built-in dice in there. So here's my built-in dice. Let's say you click over here, lands on a 5, and so forth. So it's built within here. This is kind of like the reason why I mentioned in the beginning why I don't want to use one of those outside spinners is I don't want to leave this place. And particularly for like here is, remember I mentioned I don't want to lose my path. So for example, here I have, if I click on my top hat, 5 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm moving him along based on whatever that spinner was. This is a fun game. I haven't quite finished it yet. Hopefully soon. That's my spinner Monopoly. I showed you already the spinner in Wheel of Fortune. Here's the spinner in Price is Right, the big wheel. Now, this isn't the, I wanted this one to spin towards me. Like if you've seen The Price is Right, and I couldn't do that. So it's still that same spinner, but I built all that, saved it as a picture, added the sound effect on the spin. That's in the animation too. And when you do that, it sounds like this. Here's that cool sound from Price is Right. And stop. This is, again, I would have loved the cool, how close you can get, but no. And then the last one is one of my more recent games too, and I showed you a hint of that, but that one is Mario Kart. What I did for this one is, if you notice, I've zoomed out a little bit. My wheel, only half of it is above water, basically. The other half is below the screen. You don't see the bottom half of the wheel. You only see the top, not even half, the top third or whatever. So that way it gives me more real estate for the game and kind of looks not like a wheel. So this one's a very small one. So let's say I spin this, I click on my the little item box, gets that really neat Mario sound that I found. Click on that and stop. There's the banana peel, and then you move your character based on however many they go, kind of a thing. So that's Mario Kart. This is similar to the carnival game where you have the little horses move along. Anyway, so you can see I've used the spinner a lot of different ways. You can use spinners in a lot of different ways. Feel free to just be able to edit the PowerPoint that I had that is down in the description below. Like I mentioned before, I would love to, for you to be able to subscribe and like. And also don't forget to check out my Teachers Pay Teachers channel if you want to be able to see and get your hands on any of these games. Thanks, everybody. These are spinners, and you watching Ryan, the Game Show Guy.